It's 3 o'clock. Let's get started. So again, this is the Money Mondays weekly webinar from DSLBD's District Capitalized program. We'll be talking about launching a crowdfunding campaign toolkit, which is a publication just released. I'll pause here for a moment in case anyone's on the line want to arrange for translation services. You can just call us at 202-727-3900. We might be able to squeeze in a translation today. A little housekeeping information. This is a general presentation about crowdfunding platforms and how you might consider crowdfunding as a way to finance your business. It's not any specific financing guidance for your particular business. We ask that you stay on mute. We do have a capability of coming off mute for questions and answers later on, but we ask that you stay on mute during the presentation. We are recording. If you don't want to be recorded, that's fine. Just ask your questions by chat and also keep your video off. And we'll be sending out the slides at the end with active links so that you'll be able to link through to the information provided today, along with a link to the recording from today. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them throughout the presentation using the chat feature, which you should be able to see at the lower part of your screen with a little circle, a little bubble. If you click on that, that will open the chat panel. And again, once we get to the Q&A period, you can also just unmute and ask your questions if you prefer. And if you want to ask anonymously, just email us at no.ed@dc.gov, and myself or my colleague Caroline will pull the questions from there. So we are going to begin. Caroline, if you could give me a thumbs up when the recording starts and we'll get started. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's Money Monday series. It's a weekly series from the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development's District Capitalized program, helping DC businesses and DC resident entrepreneurs finance and manage their money to open, grow their business in the District of Columbia. We're really excited today to have a very special Money Mondays. We're featuring the launch of a new publication, launching crowdfunding campaign that was developed by the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership in partnership with DSLBD and the D.C. Women's Business Center. I'm Camille Nixon. I'm Project and Access to Capital Manager with DSLBD's Innovation and Equitable Development team. I work with money, raising capital, and also increasing sales, as well as managing our DC Kiva Hub and our toolkit called dcbusinesstoolkit.com. I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Caroline. Would you like to come in and say hello?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Howe. I am the Aspire Program Coordinator at the Department of Small and Local Business Development. I support returning citizen-owned businesses, as well as many food and sustainability businesses, and so excited about the launch of this crowdfunding toolkit. I have been both a crowdfunder myself in the past, as well as a donor, so very excited for us to be having this conversation today.
Thanks, Caroline. And DSLBD also has Kate Mirren, who's our manager of the Innovative team. She couldn't join us today, but she and Director Whitfield began exploring crowdfunding a year ago, actually. And our Director Whitfield of DSLBD had a webinar a year ago, a well-attended webinar, and that led to discussions with the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership to talk about crowdfunding. And then we had 3 months of a stakeholder period to engage them, get information, including a survey that led to the development of the publication that we're talking about today. So I'd love to have them come in a little bit and talk about their program as well. I'm going to skip forward here. Daniela?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Daniela Durgan. And before I introduce myself, I'll have the Women's Business Center talk a little bit about their program, just because I'm going to be introducing our organization and talking a little bit about the toolkit that we all collaborated to make it come to fruition today. So,
okay.
Can you go to the slide before our slide? Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you for having us, and we were so glad to partner with you all on this project. I'm Heidi Shepard, the project director of the DC Women's Business Center. We provide free one-on-one counseling, webinars, events such as this one for women-owned small businesses in the DC metro region. And we have several ways that we provide services. We have online tools. We are also a Kiva trustee, happy to be so. We help clients with loans and grant applications. Again, we have one-on-one counseling, trainings, and events. You can see a couple of the trainings that are coming up, but I would suggest visiting our website for a full list of our upcoming trainings. And we also have a Facebook group that you're welcome to join. We are partially funded by the Small Business Administration, and we're a program of the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. So feel free to reach out to us. Our website is on the slide, and our email is also on the slide. We are here to help you grow your businesses. Thanks.
And to add to that, thanks, Heidi. They have a unique access to data if you're doing market analysis that only they can have access as a SBA provider. So definitely check out becoming a client of the Women's Business Center. And I'll jump back to a little bit of information about DSLBD, which I was going to do after the partnership, but since we're going in the order that we agreed to, just a little bit more about DSLBD. If you want links to how you can meet with us in person, as well as online, our trainings, our funding, including the dcbusinesstoolkit.com, as well as our subscription to the DC Business Funding Alert, which includes events like the Money Mondays. And our next one is on September 13th, Kiva. So now back to Daniela with the partnership.
Thank you, Camille. Again, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I am Daniela Diogen, and I support small businesses and entrepreneurs at the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership. The Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership is a nonprofit, public-private organization founded 20 years ago with the mission to promote business opportunities in the district through business retention, expansion, and attraction initiatives. So in partnership with the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, we support businesses and entrepreneurs looking to open, expand, and invest in DC. Next slide, please. So along with today's event, we are so excited and proud to release the toolkit on how to launch a crowdfunding campaign. So thank you to our partners at the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, the Department of Small and Local Business Development, and the DC Women's Business Center for the support and contribution to this publication. I also want to acknowledge all the crowdfunding platforms that have supported DC-based businesses raise capital for their businesses. So special thanks to Give Border, Honeycomb Credit, Patreon, WeFunder, Kiva, the DC Kiva Hub for their support of this publication. Next slide, please. So this toolkit that we are releasing today is meant to supplement the information you will receive today from our speakers, and should also help provide some guidance to businesses looking to launch a crowdfunding campaign. So the toolkit is categorized broadly in three broad sections. So the first section would explore recommendations of best practices before, during, and after initiating a campaign. So it also includes common mistakes to avoid when you're crowdfunding. The next section kind of navigates the different types of crowdfunding and provides relevant platforms and examples of DC businesses that have crowdfunded successfully. So the last section, in a sense, provides any other additional information as well as resources on organizations that can support businesses that are looking to crowdfund. So you will be able to get this toolkit on our website. The toolkit will be available on our website for you to download. So please check it out. I'm going to put the link to it as well in the chat window. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, reach out to the DSLBD, the Women's Business Center, and they will be more than happy to assist you. Back to you, Camille.
Thanks so much. And it's great to see this pub come together. I know the number one thing that people were interested in through the survey last year was crowdfunding, but then they didn't know what to do. So this is a great, like, walking you through the basics of both what people who've done crowdfunding, like you hear from today, what they found to be helpful, and what we found, and talking with the funders of the platforms that they found to be helpful. So we hope you'll consider downloading it. And also to introduce yourselves by chat. Thanks, their team for starting the flow in the chat. Feel free to introduce yourself virtually through the chat if you'd like. So for today's agenda, as Daniela mentioned, we'll go through the different types of platforms, the different types of crowdfunding options, just to give a little taste of what they each are, but mostly to spend time hearing from businesses who actually have gone through the platforms or are doing it right now, and what their experiences are using the various types of crowdfunding platforms. And then we'll end with a period of Q&A to us, but actually mostly to the businesses who were able to join us today, so you could ask about their experience with crowdfunding. So here are the 5 types of crowdfunding platforms that are out there: donation, rewards, membership, and lending, and equity. So the first off is donation. As it probably sounds, people are giving money to your business campaign. It's generally a cash donation. It can be to a business, but also organizations and individuals can receive money through these campaigns. And that actually most of them are for non-businesses, but businesses have used them in the past. And it's something, most like anything, if someone were to give you a Christmas present, you say thank you. A key to doing an effective donation campaign is to say a thank you note, either virtually or otherwise, to the various people who've contributed to your campaign. And before I speak about the business experience, would anyone like to jump in and add more to that from the team for donation crowdfunding? If not, I'll just say a few words about Kimberly from Brown Beauty Co-op was not able to join us today. She had a last minute family emergency that came up, but she was able to raise over $10,000 using a donation-based campaign called GoFundMe. And that was to help her business remain operational during the pandemic and come out on the other side, still functioning and growing. So hopefully we'll have a chance to get Kim's experience shared through another way. But for now, we'll move on to the next crowdfunding type, which is rewards. If you give something, you get something. And that's the type of crowdfunding platform that rewards are, where you provide a product, a service, or some other type of perk. It could be that you give, if you're selling fruit baskets, if you give a certain amount of money, you get a certain size basket. If you give more money, you get more baskets. It could also be things: first access to your products once they become available, or early notice about things that are coming online with your business down the road. So it could be things or access, but some type of reward that you give in exchange for getting their financial support of your business. And you can tier it so that the more money that is contributed is a higher or more valuable the reward that they receive. We're fortunate today to have someone who's gone through a rewards platform, the I Fund Women platform. That's a rewards-based crowdfunding. We have Kim from Lamic Beauty, who was able to join us today and talk about her experience with crowdfunding. Hey, Kim, welcome.
Hi, thank you for
Hi.
having me.
So you have been actively using I Fund Women very much so that you have over $10,000, sorry, $75,000 worth of funds raised. Tell us how you came to choose this type of platform and what your experience has been, both getting set up in the platform as well as you've been operating your fundraising campaign.
Yeah, so great afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak about my experience. Because I think this is absolutely incredible. If I could have been on something like this before I launched my crowdfunding campaign, that could have been even more I could have done, right? So I chose iFund Women because they did provide support. So the iFund Women community is a strong community. And it's one that Karen Khan, one of the co-founders who I love, and the other co-founders and the team over there, Olivia, she's over iFund Women of Color. They have built a community where they have a Slack channel. They have actual coaching, and they just help you to really get acclimated to what it's kind of going to take. Also, if you follow their social media on iFund Women, you'll find out about a lot of different things. So for me, it was the community that iFund Women provided, I actually wanted to like learn from that community, and I wanted to be in with that community. So I chose iFund Women kind of based on that, and also because I saw a couple of her friends do it as well.
I'm sorry.
And thanks for that. And so far, how's it been going? Why do you think you've been so successful on the platform so far?
Yeah, I think we've been successful on the platform because of three things that we've done. One, we have really put all in on it. So as far as like creating, calling people, and really, you know, when you think about crowdfunding, you got to think about the fact that actually you're bringing your crowd to do the funding. So the one thing, the three things I'll touch on, the one major thing is that we brought our crowd. So we really, you know, called people, text them. Like you have to go old school. I did like a phone bank. I like called people. And I think, you know, that's something that people don't realize. They just think they're going to send an email and that's the only touch point. No, you gotta do some even more critical touches to get people to activate. And so that's one thing we did really well. Something else that really worked is our storytelling ability. So I gave my campaign a theme. It's called Show Them Who We Are. Hashtag Show Them Who We Are. That basically was saying that I learned that 0.006% of Black women raise venture capital, less than 2% of women raise venture capital. If I look at those numbers, obviously we need to show them that our businesses are worth getting funded, right? And so it's kind of like we need to show them who we are, like, you know. And so that's the momentum, and that's the story that I told in my campaign. So get you a story to tell, hone in on that story, and really rock that story and make it the thread, and make it, you can make it a theme and then thread it through your whole campaign. So that sort of Show Them Who We Are was like the theme of the campaign. And every time someone would contribute or we would highlight them, we would put a hashtag Show Them Who We Are behind it. You can look on Instagram and look up the hashtag Show Them Who We Are. You will see my campaign in that hashtag. Three, I would say, is the fact that, you know, the other thing that really made a difference for us doing well in this campaign, I think, was just giving a specific amount of time that we're going to do it for. You know, knowing that, okay, I'm going to do it from this amount of time. Let me focus in. So you got to focus on this. You can't try to do this plus try to, you know, do a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. You still got to run your business. I get that. But you know what it means to focus in on something. You know what that looks like. And so to give yourself a certain parameter, almost like when you're trying to lose 10 pounds or you're trying to lose 30 pounds for a vacation coming up. You know how it go. Come on, ladies. Okay, you know, we give ourselves, you like, okay, the vacation is in October, because I got one coming up in October. I need to lose 10 pounds. So I'm like, I got a whole month to lose 10 pounds, right? And so you know what that month looks like. Don't bring me no cake, no nothing, okay? During that time period. And that's kind of how this is. Like, you look at that time that you're going to do this crowdfunding campaign, maybe you say 3 months or whatever the case might be, but really focus in that you're going to put a lot of your effort. So go ahead of time and put the hours, put it on your calendar on the time that you're going to spend, you know, garnering people for your campaign and getting people on board.
That is awesome. And your experience, especially around giving the time and having the theme, having a story to tell, and then using all possible methods, as you're describing what you did to get people to contribute, it reminds me of a political campaign. They don't just have one event or send one email and it's done. This is multi-methods all the time, nonstop, intense till they win, and then they do it again in 4 years. So in this case, you're intentionally doing it again. You might try it again and later on. So that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm curious, since we're talking about rewards platforms, how did you tier your rewards, and what were you giving at each tier?
Yeah, it's so funny you said political campaign, because I've been around politics, and you guys are obviously in DC, so you already know I'm housed in Houston. But I have being a part of campaigns, and I literally felt like I was doing a political campaign. Like I felt like I was on a campaign trail. I was hugging babies. I was kissing them on the forehead, whatever. Like any event I went to, I was like, yeah, remember the campaign, like always sort of looking for the microphone to announce it. And when you think about rewards, think about your intellectual property. Think about your IP. Think about that when you think about rewards. That's the one thing that was a game changer for me that iPhone women told me to consider. So a lot of times when we think of rewards, we think of a T-shirt, a mug, for me, maybe a makeup bag or just the products or whatever. But for this campaign, sometimes you can think of it even from intellectual property. What are you really good at that you can sort of make? So for instance, my background is also like public relations. I have a degree in PR, and people have always asked me like how I've gotten PR for my company organically without like paying or whatever. Come up with a playbook for that, really simple, something really easy. And I came up with a playbook, and that was like one of my rewards at one time. And you can switch up your rewards to make it fresh. It's almost like a sale at Target, okay? Like you want to switch that thing up. You want to keep those rewards. You can keep those rewards fresh. You don't have to have the same rewards the whole time. You can switch them up. But like intellectual property rewards work so good. And just like, you guys came up with a playbook for crowdfunding, if you have a certain expertise, you can come up with a quick little playbook. Maybe it's just a one-sheeter that people would usually pay you consulting for, but maybe you just put it inside of there. But think about your tiers. Like for instance, I had like a coffee date with me, and it could even be virtual, or virtual coffee date or in-person coffee date for people that were local. And that reward did so good. And I didn't expect that. But people want to pick my brain for some reason. Who knows why? But they do. And so, that's a reward. It was like $250 to pick my brain for an hour, right? And so just think about different ways. Then I also had my products, and I bundled the products to make those rewards. So we switched our rewards up. If you go on my page now and you see my iPhone Women campaign, which you can still contribute to, and it'll be very, very helpful right now for you to do that, and you can get some good stuff. But one thing I will say, sow a seed that you want to reap on. I actually contributed to campaigns before I held my own. And I just think it's really good to, contribute to someone else's campaign. So when you get ready to do yours, you'll be blessed with some people who maybe don't even know you, who contributed to your campaign, right? And I think those are the ones I always get excited about and surprised about, was like, I don't know this person. Who is this? And how maybe they just ran across it and fell in love with the story or what have you, or heard it somewhere. So I just would say, tier them out, make you a really, start off with something really simple, a $25 or whatever the case might be, and then bring it up from there. But just think about the fact that, you want to have, use your intellectual property, things that don't cost you anything to ship. Because when you get to the end of your campaign, it's really nice not to have to ship a whole bunch, have some stuff you don't have to ship. And you can sort of digitize, or just your time as well.
I love that. I love the tiering. I love also not relying on the cost-based rewards. I know some people like me want a little tchotchke, but then also to sit down with someone for an hour, that is valuable, because I can buy a beauty bag any place, but to have an hour of your time might be even more valuable. And that's also particularly good for businesses who are at the beginning of their business. They may not have inventory to give away yet. You might be raising money to get the inventory to give away, that you would be able to give something besides something physical, time, intellectual property. I like that you valued it at a higher amount. It wasn't just like $50, it was $250.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a lot of great information, both in person, or if you're doing it by, like you mentioned, doing like a one page or a little ebook, a little PDF of information. So this has been great, and I hope you're looking out the chat. There's lots of love and appreciation as we have for both you sharing your experience and also encouraging others to consider rewards-based crowdfunding. So thank you so much, Kim, for joining us, and she'll be sticking around to answer questions at the end. Thank you so much. And again,
Thank
if this
you.
sounds like it's a reward type, a crowdfunding type that's of interest to you, you'll be able to download the crowdfunding toolkit and get more details about how to use it. And she mentioned quite a few things that are true throughout all the types of crowdfunding, including building a community and building in the time to manage your campaign and really promote it. So that's true for all campaigns, not just rewards types. So now we're going to jump into the membership type of campaign. I'd like to bring in my colleague Caroline to speak a little about this and to introduce our next business who is using membership campaigns.
Thank you so much. So just as Camille just mentioned, so there's so much overlap between these campaigns, but the major difference between rewards and membership campaigns is that membership-based crowdfunding offers a sustainable method to receive monetary support over time. So instead of just contributing $5 or $10 or $250 once, we instead are asking for that monthly, and contributors are committing to provide that monthly. So I am very honored to have with us today Elena Lacayo of Elena y los Fulanos y Elena La Fulana, who first used Indiegogo, a rewards-based crowdfunding platform, to fund 2 of her albums, raising $8,000 and $11,000 to release 2 albums, and is now using Patreon to support her career as an independent musician. So Elena, I am so glad to have you here. And I am wondering if you can start by telling us about that crowdfunding journey, how you chose rewards crowdfunding for your albums, and how Patreon is working for you now as a ongoing membership-based platform.
Sure. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thanks for having me. And I want to congratulate everyone who's here, because if you're here, that means you're brave enough to think about doing crowdfunding, which is a scary thing. And if you feel a little scared about it, it's totally reasonable and totally okay. You're putting yourself out there, you're putting your brand out there. For me, as Caroline mentioned, so I'm a Latina bilingual singer-songwriter and artist. I have a band called Elena y los Fulanos. And when I started doing released an album, I did a crowdfunding campaign, and just talked about it. I think a lot of those points were covered. Raised enough money to create both of my albums. Actually, I have them here to you. And these were easier. These were kind of cool because obviously I was creating an actual product, and so I could do different perks around the actual product and the release event and things like that, getting tickets to those kinds of events. Doing a sustaining membership is kind of a different beast, if you will. It's a little bit hard. I mean, I think for me, the really challenging of the kinds of campaigns is to figure out tiers and perks that make sense for what you can realistically do, because one thing that you don't want to do is create more work for you in addition to being the business owner that you are, or the project manager that you already are. So for me, the biggest thing is to find perks that align with what you already want to be doing in your business, and figure out how to integrate your fans or your supporters into that, if that makes sense. And so I just started to set some goals. Obviously, during the pandemic, for artists, we did turn to these kinds of things like Patreon, which is what I'm doing. Patreon is a monthly sustaining program, and basically you have different tiers which give people different access to different amounts of things. Actually, maybe I'll put it here. Oh, did you put it in there, Caroline? So as you can see, there's different perks. There's different perks associated with the different levels. There are some artists that have it way more advanced, and they do like weekly things with their supporters at level. As you can see, some of my higher perks, and I personally, not to make them super high numbers, because more amount of people supporting me than I had to like have high levels of support. It's just like a decision I made, because I'm kind of trying to grow my crowd in kind of like a a horizontal manner, I guess you would say. And I want to be able for it to be sustainable for people to support me. And so that's kind of some of the things that I've kind of focused on with regards to it. I don't know what else I should say about that. I mean, I think to me, the hardest thing, like I said, is at the beginning, really putting effort into thinking about, okay, anyway, how do I just do work and integrate my supporters in goals that I've already set for myself as a creator or as a business, so that you're not making like a whole other set of work for yourself, but instead just like kind of bringing people along to the things that you're already doing for yourself, if that makes sense. And I found that to be the most kind of useful learning from this, both for the Indiegogo type with crowdfunding that I did, campaign based, but also for the sustainer based, because especially for the sustainer, kind of committing to doing this on the long term, you're that are going to be supporting you hopefully for many years, and you will be able to honor the commitments that you make to them.
Thank you so much, Elena. One last question, just as we heard, in terms of thinking about things that you don't need to ship, many of the pieces that you're offering to your Patreon supporters are your experiences, but are your art in terms of recording songs for people and things like that. How do you balance and pace those different things that you do have to be creating for your supporters?
Well, like I said, I think what I try to do is that I align, like, so for example, I send out videos every so often. I think I do them every 2 weeks. Or kind of flexible with me on that, but do it like I said, aligned with what I already want to be working on. And so I'm just like, okay, this is a way for me to really master a song and to put out a product. And it's a way for me to hold myself accountable to my own goals, so that I have an actual audience that's like, these are things that I want to do. But if I have an audience that's like waiting for it, even if maybe they don't, I don't know, see it. I don't know who sees it, I don't know how often they open it. I don't know how frequently but it's accountability really, really helps me look at my trajectory and see how I've advanced. And yeah, I mean, it's another thing to balance for sure, but then you have to realize that this is a sustained amount of funding that you're getting. So you have to prioritize it. And that's why kind of coming to the decision of what you want to put out and how you want to put it out has to, making it strategic so that it really aligns with what you're already wanting to do as a business. And I think like for product-based businesses, I think it's even cooler because you could be like, oh, I'm testing this new product. You could have them be the first people. You have like kind of audience that's already interested and invested in what you're doing, and they want to hear from you. They want to know what you're working on, stuff that maybe you're like, oh, they don't want to see the details of this. Your patrons, they're saying, I proactively want to be a part of this. I proactively want to like hear and get first samples or see the behind the scenes or all that stuff, which may otherwise not be relevant. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Elena. And I also think for everybody watching, it's something we hear from so many folks in crowdfunding and encourage people. Crowdfunding is a lot of work. So making sure that it is helping you either with that accountability or with building your marketing base and really using it as a way to further your business. So it's not just about the money, it's about something else for your business, whether that's marketing or, as we were hearing earlier, building a community and momentum. So thank you, Elena. We've got some questions coming in for the chat that we'll hold for the Q&A session at the end, because I know folks want to hear more. So if you have other questions for Elena, keep on dropping them in the chat. Camille, back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Elena. And Elena, as you were describing, like, oh, this is a great membership is a great way if you want to keep yourself accountable, because you need to book a schedule and providing information or products kind of helping your business grow. And I wonder sometimes, especially in the early stages, when you may not have the largest customer base, it's hard to keep moving sometimes if you don't have an audience to sell to. And it sounds like through membership, you can start building that. I also hooked in on that. You're building your community. Of course, it's about money. Yes, this is why we're all here, to make money for your business, but building that community, that crowd organically over time is worth the investments. I imagine you can leverage them in other ways coming down the line too, besides just the membership campaign. So thank you for that. I do see a lot of questions coming in. So please stick around if you can, Elena. We'd love to direct them to you when we get there. And also I see people introducing themselves. If you joined us later in the webinar, welcome. Just a quick pause to say, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. ask questions in the chat throughout. We'll be fielding them at the end of the presentation and also taking questions by just unmuting later on if you'd like to ask. We do have two more types of crowdfunding platforms we'd like to share with you. The next is loan crowdfunding. As it sounds, you're using a crowd to get to a loan. You can get a loan from a bank. That's one person, one entity giving you a lump of money. But with a crowdfunding loan, you get it from lots of individuals, sometimes small amounts, big amounts, and sometimes it's actually from organizations who are giving the money. And it's all crowdsourced together. And then the platform is used to take that crowdsourced money and award it to you with a loan that you would repay back. And then as you pay back the loan, the money is given back proportionally to the people who contribute. So the person who maybe gave $100 might be getting back $1 each month, and when you repay, but someone who gave $1,000 is getting back $10 each month as you repay. The loan terms being the interest rate that you have to pay for the loan and the fees you may have to pay to apply and to process the loan over time. Those vary greatly depending on the type of loan crowdfunding platform you're using to get a loan. And this is actually something that DSLBD does heavily. We operate the DC Kiva Hub. We partner with Kiva, which is an international organization that provides crowdfunding loans throughout the world. And in the last 7 to 8 years, they've been doing a lot of work in the United States. So a little bit quickly about Kiva, since it is housed here at DSLBD, you can get loans from anywhere from $1,000 up to $15,000. All stages of businesses, most industries, most business types. Kiva is unique in the sense that there's no cost to you. There's zero fees to you, to the lenders. It's also a 0% loan. There's no interest rate that you have to pay when you are repaying the loan. So it's a really low, no barrier access to getting loans. It's open to a wide variety of business owners, including those who may have been exposed to the justice system, prior bankruptcy, doesn't have documentation. Anything where it's open to most businesses and DC residents who are applying for loans. It's also super fast processing. So there's a link if you'd like to get more information about Kiva, and I'll talk a little bit later about upcoming workshops where you can learn more as well. But I'd like to turn over to one of our earlier Kiva borrowers, Shanita Ann from SOSEB, which is a faith-based medical and health counseling service. Shanita Ann had lots of prior experience in emergency medical care, and then she's connected that with her interest in providing proactive services to help people and businesses and their employees become healthier. So Shanita, would you like to unmute and join us to talk a little bit about your experience with Kiva?
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. So I told a little bit about your business, but tell me how you came to find Kiva and decide to move forward in applying for a Kiva loan.
Well, just being connected with the DSLBD resources, actually staying in contact on different listservs and the programs that are usually coming out of the DSLBD department. And I just applied.
And during the application period, how was that process as far as like pulling together information for your pitch and completing the application?
Well, I can say the Kiva program, I am now just full disclosure. So I am not a marketing person. I'm not any of that. I don't even, my friends know I'm old school. If you're my friend in person. I don't even have a lot of Facebook friends. So the application part was easy. It was seamless. If not Miss Camille, then someone else at DSLBD was trying to email me, touch base, make sure I didn't have any questions through applying. It was kind of the next steps that were a little bit more of a hurdle, but definitely the Kiva application process was seamless. And you get a lot of support going through the application.
Oh, that's great to hear. And to add to that, Heidi from the DC Women's Business Center spoke earlier that in addition to DSLBD, there's also the DC Kiva trustees, like the DC Women's Business Center, who can provide support. So once you got through the application, so that was the easy part. What made the crowdfunding part a little bit more of a challenge?
Me, and that's the beauty of America. We're all different. So there are musicians and the previous business owner with a PR marketing specialist, but I take care of people. I study people for 7 years. I don't know computers or engaging online platforms. So I can say some of the things I wanted to share. So the Kiva platform, like you said, is all stages. I was specifically a startup. So looking to get some of my fees reimbursed, looking to hire another nurse on my team. And the hurdles with not just putting your platform on there, but reaching your crowd. So that was my thing. I had people, well, let me say my crowd or other business people. So they're looking to sign service agreements and contracts. They're not necessarily looking to help me crowdfund. That's just how my crowd is. And that was the biggest thing, staying on top of them. And really, the Kiva platform is so seamless, though, because it took my people maybe 3 days, but the Kiva internet world people that I didn't know, it took them about 5 hours, and I got my funding complete.
Yeah, I remember you were super fast. I left on Friday. Before I could promote you, you were already funded by Monday. So that was really fast. Yeah, I have noticed that consistently that people from around the world so can help. So even if you're not um, you feel that your individual community is not very broad, there's a much larger community out there. And also DC Kiva could help you reach out to your own community as well. What would be some tips that you might share with businesses who are considering doing a loan platform like Kiva, what they might want to consider if they're going to use that for their business?
Yeah, I would say definitely if you already have some other diverse investing and different sources coming in, use the Kiva for something specific. It was a lot easier to say, well, specifically, I need salary stipend. So this money would go to that. Be very specific, whether it's equipment or staffing or they have some other restrictions, but just be very specific in what you're asking for it for. Stay on your people. Like the other young lady said, I had to learn, even though I called my second cousin in Arizona and she said, sure, by the time the next day happened, the kids and her business. And so just stay on your people because they are people, especially if you're not doing so much of the reaching out to people in your network, but you're reaching personal family and things. They are thinking about you. They want you to do it, but you stay on the phone while they are typing it because they'll forget. And then you sitting there because you have a window for Kiva. So stay on top of them, just like anything else with care, concern. And, of course, they give you a little platform to remind them it's a loan, not necessarily a donation. That can sway some people, or some people may not care. They just want to give, but do remind them it's a loan. And definitely don't forget to share your success stories.
That's something I hear a running theme. You have to be on your people throughout. Yeah, I think people generally want to be supportive. I know some borrowers were concerned about asking friends and family, which is part of Kiva. You have to initially ask some friends and family before it opens up to the worldwide crowd. But most people wanted to help, but I think they have to be reminded sometimes, and also maybe helped a little bit with the tech on how to contribute. So you mentioned about the repayment part. You've already started repaying your loan. What is that experience like as far as repaying a crowdfunding loan?
No, I haven't. So I didn't mean to just throw that monkey wrench in there, but Kiva, I think they did it automatically. Honestly, I don't remember. So when you set up your application, you can say like when you want to start your repayment terms. So I had set mine, I think, for a few months out. So once I think you can just set it up, and that's what I did. I set it up with my bank. I'm pretty sure it'll be seamless, but they even have that flexibility in there. So you do get to kind of select the time frame to start your repayment.
I missed, so sorry to put that on you. I forgot that you were Shanita Ann was at the tail end of during COVID. Kiva did a lot of changes to make it easier for businesses, and one of them was that they gave a 3-month grace period before you start repaying. So if you were to start Kiva today, you just have a 30-day grace period before you start repaying. But Shanita Ann's benefit, I know you caught in the very end of it. That's great. Yeah, but they do have other things that they do to make it easier for different types of businesses at different challenges. So. But just so you know, as I think I mentioned at the beginning, like the other loan platforms, as you repay, as Shanita Ann will repay at some point, proportionally her various lenders will get repaid as well. So it's not a gift or a donation, it actually has to be repaid to the lenders. Anything else you'd like to share about your experience before we wrap?
The DSLBD team is great. I just wanted to give you guys kudos again. Oftentimes not realizing the different barriers, even because I'm going into a field that was specifically under the healthcare sector, you know, me going to apply for a 7-8 or another SBA-backed loan was still a barrier because of credit and other histories. And it was something where Kiva and the DSLBD team really pushed forth programs to truly allow for equity. And I appreciate you all. And thank you all for listening to me. And congratulations, everyone, on your new ventures.
Oh, well, thank you, Shanann, for joining and for sharing that. I think Kiva is very accessible to most types of businesses, that no matter the conditions of their business or their past financial situation. So thank you for that. And we'll be able to stick around to answer questions later on. Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Okay. So we'll move on to the last of our types of crowdfunding platforms. We went through donation, membership, loans, rewards, and now we're going to talk about equity. And equity is a crowdfunding platform where you would have to give a piece of your business. We talked about giving rewards or perks, be they physical or otherwise, to borrowers, to supporters, but through equity, you're actually giving a portion of your business. It could be a percentage of sales, it could be a stake in your business, a certain percentage of ownership in your business in exchange for the financial support. The platforms vary. You can look in the crowdfunding toolkit at the partnership site to read up about the various platforms that are out there. You can select your terms within the platform of how much that you want to give away of your business for people to support. Unfortunately, we did not have a business to provide an example today for equity, but we'll be looking for ones in the future and may have them featured at future Money Mondays, or the partnership may feature them at a future time. But this is the 5th of the 5 types of crowdfunding platform types that are out there. So I'd like to turn with a couple of end with a couple of recommended next steps, and then we'll turn it over to questions and answers. Again, check out the toolkit, and Danielle will put the link in the chat again in a few minutes to learn about the various platforms, the models. And if you need help, there's lots of help out there. A good platform that you should choose should have help specific to that platform, but you might need help just trying to figure out which platform and then how to apply for each. So the toolkit can help you with that, as can the Washington DC Economic Partnership, the DC Women's Business Center, and DSLBD. We have staff who are available to meet with you and to answer your question one-on-one about generally the platforms and specifically how one might be a good fit for your business. And again, DSLBD also has a specific person, me, who's managing the DC Kiva Hub. I can answer questions specifically about that platform as well. Also coming up in the Money Monday series later on this fall are a couple of topics that relate to crowdfunding that might be of interest to you, including a perfect pitch series. Earlier, Kim talked about having a story, as you saw from her picture, and Lena spoke about having a way to engage your community. That's what the pitch is all about, be it your writing, your pictures, what you're asking for. So we'll have a series to help you with that. A special session in October and November called Think Like a Funder. What are funders thinking when they decide whether to give you money, be it through crowdfunding or loans or grants? And then finally, we have monthly Kiva information sessions if you're interested in becoming a borrower. Again, the next one is September 13th. It's a food-focused one, but you also get general information regardless of your business type on that on September 13th. So subscribe to the DC Business Funding Alert for information about those. And also in that alert, we'll put information about other crowdfunding classes that might be coming out through the partnership, the Women's Business Center, or other organizations. And speaking about the Women's Business Center, I wanted to mention a couple of events coming up that might be of interest to you before we go into the Q&A. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., the DC Women's Business Center, along with OCP and DSLBD, are hosting a webinar about DC contracting opportunities. And the link is at the bottom if you'd like to sign up at the DC Women's Business Center to attend. Also, on Wednesday of this week, DSLBD is having a session about preparing for holiday sales. If you're someone who sells products during the winter holiday time, we have a session to help specifically for makers, but anyone can join that as well. That's at 12 p.m. online or in person at the MLK Library. And now Q&A. So I'll start going through the questions in the Q&A in the chat But would anyone like to kick us off by unmuting and asking a question to anyone, be it they businesses or anyone from the partnership, the Women's Business Center or DSLBD?
Hi, this is Melina. I'm on the phone. May I ask a question, please?
Oh, yes, please. And thank you. If I could pause for a second, thank you for coming in to ask and also reminding me, if you are on the phone, please just unmute yourself and ask your question. Thanks. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So this was a very great call. Thank you so much. I really learned a lot and look forward to receiving the slides. I wasn't able to attend visually today, but I'm glad I was able to attend the phone. So thank you to everyone who participated. One thing that I kind of noticed, which was, well, good for me, that as I was listening to you, I found familiar that everybody was kind of outgoing and happy and really engaged. And then, you know, sometimes you're there, sometimes you kind of have your ups and downs, sometimes you're having a not so engaged day. It just made me think, what about my colleagues or the rest of us who are not outgoing, outspoken personas, you know, not as bubbly, not the social butterfly kind of person? Can anybody speak to a little bit of that? Which campaign works best for someone who's a little bit more shy or just shy about their business starting off? Or I hope I'm making sense, but that's kind of my question. Is there a specific campaign that works best for someone who's a little bit more or less outgoing?
I'll start off and maybe my colleagues would like to join in as well as the businesses. I think all of the campaigns and just in business in general, getting comfortable with speaking about your business and communicating it, be it through email, little sound bites like on meetings like this or in print or online is important, and it's something that gets easier over time. As far as the platforms go, I think the level of effort you can make as far as communicating your why and your story and being really honest about what that is and intentional, I think that will come through regardless of the platform. And that whether you feel less extrovert and communicating that is not as important as far as like getting that information locked in and really selling your business and it's your intent, your story. I would say, I know with DC Kiva Hub, I can speak to that we acknowledge that it's not everyone's cup of tea to be talking about themselves. So we have different tools and templates and strategies to help people prep for their campaign. And if their campaign's kind of going slow and they might not make their goal, we have triage to kind of help them engage. So I can speak to that platform. Does anyone else want to chime in, either a business who's gone through this themselves?
Yes.
Or yes, please.
My name is Angelo Zambrano, and well, my question is, how is it possible to be in two programs at the same time, or you have to quit from one program to go to another one? Because I have seen that the equity is something that I've been thinking about also, but I also in Kiva I have started the full process, but you know, it's pretty much my question.
Hi, Angela. Thanks for asking. I'm just going to pause for a quick second before we open that up, just to see if anyone else had a response to the first caller's question about is there a platform that's better suited to someone who might not be as extrovert and comfortable promoting and communicating about their business?
I was just gonna share, hopefully provide some encouragement. I am learning through the computer. You can make yourself look as good or as bubbly as you want. So I actually did have a free 99 intern for the summer. They did my social media. They set it up like auto posts. They did really good. And if you learn, well, if you know, like they were saying, your story, know your passion, it comes out through words, it comes out through personal experience that you don't even have to necessarily talk about. And again, keep us really good because you only have to call a couple of people who already know you, what you're about, what you're doing. And the community is so big and so vast. You'll still have supporters, even if you don't know them, to talk and reach out.
Thanks for that, Shanita Ann. So now,
Also,
oh,
I
please.
can add to that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please go on.
Okay, I just wanted to say hi, everybody. This is Rachel Newman. I just wanted to say really fast, I've always been an extrovert, but when I started my business, I found it difficult to talk business, to focus. And so I just forced myself to do it. I was like, how, this of course was pre-COVID. I was like, how will I get clients? And something that worked, and it can be done on a Zoom too, is my business partner and I decided to have like little mixers, little gatherings. We invited our banker, we invited people who helped us start our business. And so what ended up happening, and then we invited some other people, we asked them to invite somebody. So we had people in the room who knew us, people in the room who were aware of our business, and we literally made a commitment to force ourselves to figure that part of it out. Because once you get through doing the business and you've got it all set up and everything, you think, oh, I'm done. No, now you've got to go get business. And so I've coached a lot of new business owners too. I'm like, you have to do it. It's not an option. It's like a baby. Babies don't not learn to walk. Every baby learns to walk unless they have a physical disability. So they fall down, they get up, they fall down, they get up, and eventually children walk, and it has to be that natural. So that's just what I wanted to share.
I'll just
Thank you,
add that I
Elena.
think that one of the things that's really good about these platforms, at least the ones that I've used, is that it forces you to do it even if you don't really want to, because then you have like a deadline and a goal, and you just start being like, oh my God, I have to raise this. I have a deadline. How am I going to do it? And I personally, it's stressful, but I work better. I feel like if I push myself to do it. And I also think there's a lot of really cool platforms that help you structure how you and as always, like, play to your strengths. Like if you're a better writer or like making a video, say for example, then focus on that. And then like, yeah, start from your core. And then if they can't donate, tell them, hey, if you can't provide today, then tell a friend. Like doing some work and spreading the word. And that all can help you today. Like if you keep pushing, like people donate to campaigns when they see it multiple. So you just don't know, like some people respond to emails, some people respond to, so some people come to personal events. Like for my fundraising campaign, one of the things I did is I did a show, since I'm a performer, on one of the days, like a week before the deadline. And I had people update me in between songs on how much we had raised. I was like, this could be a mess and we could raise nothing. But it's like putting that pressure in the room, it actually really helped. So just coming up with different ways to play to your strengths, you know.
I love that. Yes, and playing to your strengths. And as Shanita and Rochelle also shared, sometimes you just got to do it. A little secret, I don't like presenting. So what I do, I create a weekly presentation that I have to do every Monday. So it's kind of stepping out of your platform and trying out of your lane and trying to do something to promote your business and getting comfortable with it. I'd like to turn over to Angelo's question, and then we have several in the chat. I realize we're about to hit our time, so I hope you'll be able to stay with us. I'm able to keep going for another 15 minutes if people are able to stay as well. I also think we have a couple of other businesses who've gone through crowdfunding through Kiva on the platform, including from Griffin. So feel free to Charlotte to jump in, and maybe to Charlotte still on if you hear a question that might apply to your experience. So a few minutes ago, Angela had asked, can you go into multiple platforms, multiple campaigns, and have them going simultaneously? I'm thinking that you can if you manage your time and your effort and how much of your investment of your business is going out the door. But I'd like to hear from anyone in the group, both businesses and providers. Can you have multiple campaigns going on simultaneously?
I will speak to that in the sense that you certainly can think about how you stack your financing. And we talk a lot about thinking about leveraging, in addition to these crowdfunding, other resources that might help you get your business to where it is. What I will caution you on is if you do have a finite community, really thinking there can be a pro of saying, look, you can either make a loan to me or an equity investment or a contribution, depending on how you prefer to contribute. The downside is you really split your audience. And so if I might be willing to contribute to you no matter how you're fundraising, I'm now confused and might not fundraise, might not donate at all. And so there's certainly, as Elena demonstrated, the possibility of doing rolling programs. So if you do have a product or a service that is best suited for a rewards crowdfunding, do that. Then, if you do have a particular investment that you know will pay back for itself, roll out a loan. And then when you're ready at a scale where equity is what makes the most sense for your business, think about that. So obviously you can, if you feel prepared to segment your market to different people with a different service, but I'd encourage you to think about spreading it out temporally rather than spreading out your audience all at the same time. Elena?
That's a great
Just
and
nodding.
she was enthusiastic saying yes, that's true. Yeah. And I think the stacking part is looking at the longer term and being, I think, also flexible as you're rolling out that schedule of campaigns. Things may go so well in the first version that you don't need the last two, or things aren't going as well as you thought and you have to quickly pivot. So being ready to adapt as you need to. Thanks for that. I hope that helped, Angelo. We have a question in the chat. How do you market
Thank you.
yourself for crowdfunding? Oh, you're welcome. How do you market yourself for crowdfunding if you initially don't have that many followers? And I know Kiva set up expecting you have a couple of followers, but you don't have to have a lot. Anyone have experience of having a really limited or shallow base when they started their crowdfunding campaign? And how were they able to market beyond that?
Go ahead, Charlotte. We'd love to hear Griffin's experience with that.
Thanks very much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, Griffin is pretty new and we didn't have that big of a following to begin with, but Kiva actually has a really good ability to kind of put you out there on their platform. I think a lot of it has to do with sort of what keywords you use and what category you're in, but they've got some internal tools to do that. And I think as another one of the great entrepreneurs here was saying, really staying on the people within your own networks to get them to commit. And maybe part of it is luck too. We were able to fund our campaign within 3 days. So we spent a lot of time putting together the content that we were going to have on the page and really trying to tell our stories. And we were specific about why we needed this money. For our case, it was to develop a training program for first responders so they understood how to interact with citizens with service dogs. So we really tried to be just very intentional about how we told that story.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, I hear intentional and specific, which is great. And I think people will, in reading your pitch, and sometimes people have video pitches as well, they can sense and hear how genuine you are with your business idea and your efforts. I think having the numbers will build themselves when you start having momentum from the initial few.
Yeah, and I would love to add this too.
Please do. Yes, go on.
Is that I think it's followers are great, but you got to really activate followers. I must say that I'm really into network mapping. And so it's where you really lay out your network. We know more people than we realize, and we actually don't ever ask anybody for anything. Y'all don't even realize that you like never ask anybody for anything. We forget that. And, we think that, when you think about it, like, when is the last time I asked somebody for something, and people, if you have a small business or a startup, your supporters, your potential customers, your friends, the people you used to work with, people you went to college with, all those people, your neighbors, they want to see you succeed in your business, right? And so, I think that it's just, I think it's actually opening up your network. Because even with my campaign, when I looked at it, I looked through it, I was like, I haven't even asked, I probably asked like maybe 30% of my network, really. My network, it's so many people that you work with before. It's like the kids' schools. It's just like so many people you've helped before. You've helped so many people, and you didn't even go back to those people and ask them like to support you. So, I just think that it's we have more people in our network, and really look at opening up your network versus your followers. I just found that my network was way more valuable than my followers per se that I had on social media.
That's a great distinction between the social, because social media followers may kind of know you virtually, but the people you've interacted with throughout your life in different roles really, really know you and probably will step up with money sooner than later. I'm
Yeah,
going to
can
jump
I
into
add one thing?
Oh, please do.
Just
Yes.
just like I know it feels like you're asking people for something, but you also don't know who's waiting for that. Like if you change the perspective of giving people the opportunity to support the thing that they already support, it doesn't feel like you're being a burden. You're saying, you're like offering, like, hey, here's a chance to do a thing you've been doing, and you might not be in the same position where you can invest in. Maybe if you were in that position, you'd be more than willing to do. You would be happy to support it. I mean, I support a lot of things and that I believe in. And so it's just it's not seeing it as like a burden to ask people, but giving them the opportunity to be part of something. You really have to see it with that mindset, because that'll help you feel okay about it. If they say, hey, I don't want to be part of this, then you take them off the list, you don't contact them again. But some people will be like, I can't, I'll support you in some other way. And that's still really valuable.
That's excellent. Yeah, I think.
Question.
Please.
This is Martine. Is
Hi,
there
Martine.
a length of time you recommend for a crowdfunder? Because I'm looking at rewards more so.
I could only hear part of your question. Did you ask, is there a recommended amount of time to set aside for crowdfunding?
Specific amount of time you recommend that a crowdfunder should be? Like within a month? You do it for 2 months?
Yeah, it varies by the platform, and as you go through, we mentioned 5 types of crowdfunding, and then within those there are many types of platforms that are out there. Like for loans, there's Kiva, there's Honeycomb, so there are different types. So you want to look at each one to see what some have requirements. Like Kiva is a specific 15 days for your friends and family, and then up to 30 days for the public. So that's 45 days altogether. Some have specific time periods. Some are ongoing, like Patreon is ongoing. As long as you can sustain your membership, it's ongoing. So it'll vary by the platform. But I think what I've heard from all the businesses, they said that there's the life cycle of your effort might be bigger than that. The prep during the campaign, beyond the campaign, to say thank you and follow up. So you want, besides the time that each platform may say you need to dedicate for the campaign, you want to build in time before for the prep and time after for the wrap up. I'm going to hopefully squeeze in a couple of questions from the chat in the last 8 minutes. Thank you for asking that, Martine. One question came in with regards to monies received via via crowdfunding in general. How is this reflected in taxes? And is there any research regarding regulatory implications? So of course, if money is moving, the taxman probably wants to know about it. I don't have the specifics about the taxes. I imagine it's similar to what you would need to file if you received any other type of funds for your business. I would, and because there are different types of crowdfunding platforms, one's donations, rewards, equity, loans, you want to work with your accountant to get the specifics for those type of monies, movement of that type of money, whether it's a donation, loan, rewards, investment, equity, and also specific to your type of business. So I might say we won't go into that too much right now, but
I
it's
put it
something
in
that.
the chat
Oh,
that
please.
there's
Yep.
like for each one, like for like the different crowdfunding sites, normally they have a place where you can look at Q&A, like a Q&A or a fax FAQ about taxes specifically. Obviously, everybody that makes money there and lives in the United States is in the same situation. So you can start there at least.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah. And each one, and even there, I would also still contact your accountant just in case. But yeah, that's good to know. Each one within the FAQ section could walk you through their general understanding of what you have to do tax wise, regulatory wise. We have a question from Robin. Is a credit check required? I know for Kiva, they ask for your credit score, but it's actually, they don't use that to weigh whether how much money they give you, except that they may support you more if you have a lower credit score, because they know that you're not able to get financing elsewhere if you have a low credit score. So they're more likely to give you more support on your Kiva campaign, knowing that you have a low credit score, but they don't use that to to give you a lower amount. They actually used to give you a higher amount, and they also don't report your loan to the credit bureau. Anyone else have experience of whether a credit check is required for the platform that you used, both to apply and also once you get the funds, if it's reported?
I think
Not
it
for
was
the
like
crowdfunding.
a soft input. Oh, sorry.
Did I hear someone come in? If not, I'll jump to the next one. What prompts a business to choose one particular type of crowdfunding over another? Why would you think everyone wouldn't just go for donation or reward? That's a good question. So if you had chosen between more than one platform when you went forward with your business financing, why did you choose between the two? And if it wasn't a donation or reward, why would you choose another one besides those two types? And these are for our businesses who've gone through a crowdfunding platform, both as speakers or if you are on the call and you've gone through a crowdfunding. How did you choose the one that you did, and why did you just go for a donation or reward?
I'll share. I can say I did not traditionally look at crowdfunding because of one of the concerns earlier. I'm not a social online presence type of person. I know crowdfunding, there's a certain baseline you have to get with interacting with people, managing that online platform, things of that nature. And then the second part was because Kiva could get me in touch with potential funders and people who wanted to make connections that were outside of my network. So that's kind of, those two things kind of guided me more towards Kiva because of the time commitment and the connections.
I'll say that one thing I meant to add as well is I Fund Women. I talked about how I went there first because of the community, and that paid off. I ended up getting an American Express grant through I Fund Women. And then I ended up getting a Caress grant, Caress, the skin, the body line. I got a grant through Caress because of I Fund Women. So I Fund Women helps secure the bag all the way around for work you do and work you don't do. So just being on their platform and being in their network, again, thinking about networks, being in their network provided even more exposure. Like I ended up being on one of their podcasts that they're promoting right now on their social media. And that actually got people in my LinkedIn inbox who now are conversing with me about different things. And so it's good to be on a platform that also takes engagement and value with you as well. Like you talked about with Kiva, because I'd actually love to loan money on Kiva. I just think it's amazing. I love Kiva. And so for me, I Fund Women, I just love the network. Like I've gotten several grants through I Fund Women that I wouldn't have gotten if I wouldn't have had a campaign with them. So being in the network pays off.
Thanks, Kim and Shanita Ann. And just to add to that, I know when looking at the donation reward campaign pitches, I was looking for DC-based businesses who had gone through them. There were in there DC businesses who went through them, but they were harder to find because of the volume of other individuals and nonprofit organizations asking for funds, especially on the donation-based platforms. So just think about when you're going into a platform, not just if you're competing against other businesses, but other asks that are beyond businesses. So in business-focused platforms, you're all working, you're all businesses, people are coming there to support businesses, whereas some of the other donation-based platforms, you're competing against people who are asking for money for an operation, for a hurricane of a stricken area. So it's doable to raise funds, but people may not be willing to click on your business to support your for-profit entity versus a much more dire situation that might be going on for an individual or a community. So that's the type of thing you might want to weigh on the donation part. We had one more question. I hope I caught them all. And this one, actually, I can't ask. Someone else might be able to. Is there an SEC requirement for equity crowdfunding? If anyone's familiar with the equity crowdfunding platforms, I'm not as familiar with them. If not, that's something I'd be happy to research and circle back to the group and let everyone who signed up today learn about that. So I'll put that out to the group. I hope I caught your question if you put it in the chat. If I didn't, we have time for one more question. If you can unmute and share it. I hear Caroline, is that you coming in?
Yes, Camille, there was one last question saying, is there a specific crowdfunding toolkit? Yes, if you joined late, we are launching today a crowdfunding toolkit that will be circulated to all participants. So please do take a look because there are some more, as well as the link that's just dropped into the chat. And there are a lot of resources within it to expand on some of what we've talked about today. So do take a look.
Yes, that was a great question to lead us into the wrap up. So I just really want to thank everyone for joining, and particularly for our businesses, Kim, Shanita, Ann, Charlotte, Elena, for coming in. I think Michelle may have left, for coming in and sharing your experiences. And a great thanks to the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership for producing the toolkit and learning from all the research done over the last year at DSLBD, the DC Women's Business Center. And just a reminder, this is the crowdfunding toolkit. It's one of several supplemental publications to the larger Washington Economic Development Partnerships doing business guide in DC, which is awesome. So be sure to check out those publications there. And again, thank you for joining us for another Money Mondays. Our next one will be September 13th. We're taking a break on Labor Day next week, but join us again September 13th for the Kiva information session, food business focused. We'd love to have you there. I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon and a great week. Be well and be safe and wear your masks. Bye.
This is great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for joining us. Oh, whenever you're ready,